It's now time to bring it all back. That's right. It's season 2 of Behind the Comic Book Podcast with Mr. 845 Social. Brought to you by Icon Comiccon.
Hey everybody, it's Mr. 845 here, and we're Behind the Comic Book Season 2. That's right, we're up and recording again, and we want to get to know all the comic book creators, collectors, vendors, you name it, we got it. I have two gentlemen here that are going to be interviewing with me today. Tell us, guys, who are you and what do you do?
You go, Ryan.
Okay, my name's Ryan Santos. You probably see me around at the cons. I'm the art of Ryan Santos on Instagram, or you can just look me up, Ryan Santos. I'm an illustrator, a comic book artist, cover artist. I do Yapoo and Killer Care Bears, and then I've worked at a bunch of independent little comic companies, and I do a lot of covers for them. And right now, I'm currently working on Dirty Living, which is a comic collab between me and the other guy. So that's me.
All right, Steven.
And I'm Steven Beccia. I am a writer, author, also a musician and artist. I am not as good of an artist as Ryan. He is the master. But I have several novels that I have published, and this is kind of my first go as getting into the comic book world with Dirty Living.
Nice. All right, so let's kind of go into that first, so that way we can kind of promote the comic. So tell us what's Dirty Living.
Dirty Living is about an honest cop who works in a corrupt police department in Boston, and he's trying to take down the mob. And if that wasn't bad enough, he's also dealing with a sexy stalker assassin and some undead. That he's got an undead problem and also a new drug that's hit the streets. So it's he's taking punches in all areas.
Oh wow, that's pretty interesting. So what brought you to the premise of combining multiple elements, right? So you have the mafia, right, or the mob, you want to call it. You have
Sure.
the undead, and then you have an assassin. So how does this all play out?
Well, kind of a little bit inspired by Sin City and other different, comics that I've been, interested in, stories. So I'm a big Stephen King fan. So it was originally started, it was just going to be just like a crime noir. And then some undead stuff happened in the writing of it. And then this along comes this stalker assassin, and so the story just kind of all, it's kind of like multiple stories, and I'm trying to just bring it all together into this one world of Dirty Living, but it's expanding big time.
All right, here, watch this. All right, had to change the background back. But so, the biggest thing I want to know is kind of like, where can people get the book? Where are they able to purchase? Are you guys doing a Kickstarter? Like what albums or versions or series are available as of right now? What are we looking at?
All right. So right now, everything is digital. We're working with Fugitive Poems. So if you go to fugitivepoems.com, you can get the first 3 issues, and it's $2.99 every 3 months. Then you're going to get a new issue right away. So, and we are, so the last con we were just at, we are working on a distribution now. So, so it will be in print. I'm not sure exactly when, but we're kind of excited, definitely excited about that.
Nice. So how did you guys work through the premise here? Was it Ryan drawing the storyboard first, and then you kind of filled in the gaps, or did you have your script first, and then kind of Ryan started saying, you know what, I like the way this looks, and started going at it on the paper?
I'll let Ryan talk here in a minute. Well, so I met Ryan, I think it was like 2017. We met at a con, and I kind of gave him a pitch, And then we met a couple times and with the script, and Ryan's like, throwing his input in, and we decided we'll work on this together. So, but it's a great marriage, I think, because it's pretty much a give Ryan the script and he's off and running. Sometimes we'll go a little bit back and forth, on stuff, but most parts it's really good. Like I said, it's a good marriage.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, because I've talked to other writers and publishers and stuff like that, and sometimes they have the script already done, and then they go into the art, right? And then sometimes they had the art done, and then they kind of filled it in with the script. Kind of like getting the artist's input because of the fact of the way that the person's drawn, the angles, stuff like that. So, Ryan, how much fun have you had drawing this comic?
Oh, it's so much fun. The thing about this book is that there's so much heavy like drama. There's like cops and murder and undead and creatures and drugs and all this kind of stuff, but it never loses its kind of sense of humor and its kind of sense of kind of the absurdity of a lot of this stuff. So it's been a blast. Like there's so much juicy stuff to sink my pencil into. So it really makes it a great kind of opportunity for me to kind of spread my wings here a little bit.
All right,
so we met early on, and the script was there, and we just kind of honed it down a little bit, and then Steven's great, just kind of letting me go at it on the page. There's not much really feedback after that. A lot of it is really been figured out in advance. So I think it's a great partnership, and it really shows on the page.
Nice. And now was the zombie part or the undead part like? So are we talking zombies, or are we talking like the undead? Is there different classifications, or like?
It's not zombies. We're just going with undead.
Okay.
Because they're resurrected, and as the story progressed, they're being resurrected in very different ways, and adding different things to certain characteristics of the the character in the story. So
I guess this guy didn't sign up for this type of work, but he's doing it, right? So he's probably like, what the hell is this? I was just going after the mob. Why is there undead people here?
Exactly. Like, when you get to, I think it's the end of issue 2, that's really kind of a, what the F, what the F is going on here. And, and Ryan really, he brings it home with just this creature that's, you just have to see the image. I don't think we have any images to share. Ryan, do you have stuff?
I have images to share. Yeah. I don't know if I could share it right on here. How would I do that?
Okay, hold on. Let me give you the capability, because sometimes I lock it down.
Is like the very beginning of issue 3.
See, host tools and. I think I gave you the capability of sharing on here, right? Or no? Share docs.
Share my screen.
Yeah, you should be able to share it. Yeah. Make sure you turn everything else off. No, I'm just playing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What we got going?
Things are happening.
We're moving.
Boy, we'll have to. Oh, you don't want to see that one.
Oh wow. We're getting the behind the scenes.
You get to see everything. This is issue 3.
Yeah, the very beginning of issue 3 is just punchy, right?
2, actually. So this is the image anyway. There's images here.
Wow.
There it is.
Okay. That guy is definitely getting messed up. He's definitely getting messed up.
Yeah. So there's a little bit more than just reanimation going on. There's a lot of factors that kind of feeds into how, or like the end result of the reanimation. So it makes it a lot of fun to kind of design and kind of see some of this stuff that's going on.
Yeah. So it looks like there's like a mutation / like reanimation looks like some sort of tendrils, like tree stuff, maybe.
There is a lot of tendrils.
Yeah.
Well, that
tendrils are a big thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that character. Just kind of give you some background. I mean, I'm not going to tell you exactly who it is. I guess I could, but anyway, he's a bad seed, and he's got just bad things running through him. So add some of the drug that he took and being resurrected, and this is what I felt was like how he would become resurrected.
Okay.
So, and then Ryan just took it to a new level. Well, pretty much. I mean, I gave some of those descriptions, but
now when like kind of going into wow. Okay, so I was going to ask like what type of like audience are you looking for, right? So like this is a little bit on the gore side, but not too gory in the sense that it doesn't look like horror, but it does look like it's more like a cartoonish style, but also has a lot of like gore to a level that's more cartoonish than it is like horror, I think. What do you think?
Yeah.
The story really lends itself to some of that humor. You know, there's kind of fantastical things going on, so it kind of lends itself to that real sense of fun and kind of comic-y stuff.
Yeah.
But there is that undertone of realism and kind of like, you know, dirty noir kind of feel. So even panel to panel, the mood will change, and even the drawing style will change to some degrees.
Is that to kind of progress the story into like whether it be a dream scene or something like that, or is that actually how you're transitioning through the story, through the different parts of the story?
Yeah, it's just kind of transitioning through the story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this is great. So, like, right now you can get it digitally, right? And then you guys are going to go to publishing. When you go to publishing, is this now how much of a series are we making? Is this going to be eventually going on to like an 8-book series, 13-book series, or what are we looking at?
Fugitive Poems, they want to kind of bring it down to 6 so that we can get this out. So we're just going to be closing an arc on the 6th issue. Keep in mind that the first 2 issues were kind of very heavy, extra pages. There weren't your regular 22 pages, so they were very full. So the story's full, and you're definitely going to get a good story in 6 issues. And I was just telling Ryan, I'm like, I'm hoping for 22 pages in the 6th one, but it might be a few extra.
Okay.
But
and so talking about this book and talking about other works that at least Ryan has done, I know that you kind of went newish into this writing game, right? Like take me through kind of like what brought you to this realm, like what inspired you to create this story in particular, but then we'll kind of get into past history stuff. So I want to kind of make sure that we give this book some time because this is your newest project. And kind of what brought you to this realm?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a writer. Like I said, I published a few books on my own. But I've always loved just the comic book world, and I realized that some of the stuff I was writing really should just be in graphic novel form. Again, I think I was really very inspired by Frank Miller, Dark Knight, the Sin City, even Daredevil, stuff that's gritty and so it just inspired me to start writing. And I said, I wish I could illustrate the way Ryan does. And I'm like, well, at least I can write the story. And that was, so that's my thing, and the other day I was sitting there going, it's kind of like manifesting, right? Because you're writing it down and you're handing it off, and it's actually getting done. And so when I see the images come back, with the lettering and everything, and we got to give Keith some kudos for his amazing lettering he does. Yes. But it's just amazing. But I'm like, yeah, man, this is what I wrote, and it's even 10 times better with Ryan's illustrations. And so, yeah. So that's kind of been my journey, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to keep going. And
it's like you're writing magic, and then Ryan's doing the Wingardium Leviosa and putting it on paper, right? So but I mean, no, it looks like a great storyline. It looks, I hope you guys much success with this book. I definitely think that it is something that probably teens and above could probably really enjoy. Especially since it kind of goes into a couple different elements. I know I saw like the main character, he looks very Constantine-ish from like the TV series. And then you have all these different monsters and stuff like that give like a Last of Us elements, but like zombie Last of elements and undead type of stuff. So it's pretty cool to combine a lot of these elements from culture, so that people could kind of really relate to the book, what I'm saying? So it's not like something that's like out of left field. You can really grasp it into the real world and kind of go through that. So I wanted to kind of get into a little bit more about you guys. So I know that you've written, Steven, and I know that you draw, Ryan, and the biggest thing is like, let's kind of go back to the beginnings of like where you guys were in high school, elementary school. Is this something that you always wanted to do? Right. So like, let's start with Steven, and then we'll kind of go into Ryan, but what did you want to be when you grew up? Is it a writer?
Yeah, that's why. I wanted to be a rock star, to be honest. I'm still playing in bands. I play bass guitar and sing. And I remember seeing Kiss on Don Kirshner's rock concert, and I was hooked, man. But the makeup and the explosions and everything, and then I got more into some really good music, like Yes, and Rush and Zeppelin and The Who, and so I've been playing on the scene. I've been rocking out, and so I'm still playing in a couple bands right now. But very early on, the Peanuts, I used to try my hand at drawing the Peanuts, so I did love drawing too. But they came out like some circles put together with some rectangles, and and that was my version of drawing. But and I would write little captions and stuff. So it was there. It was there that I kind of wanted to do it. But it started with music. Writing and drawing was there, but like I said, it took some time for me to figure that out.
Nice. And what about you, Ryan? So, like, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a fireman.
Okay.
But that was just a pipe dream, a kid's dream. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I could draw from a young age too. So, like, I was doing the same thing. I get the Sunday paper, and I would copy every comic in the panel, on the border. And but it came out really good.
No circles and squares.
No circles and squares. No.
I could do a good Snoopy. I did a pretty good Snoopy. That was it.
Snoopy, that's okay. So, but I didn't know I had any like real talent until it was like junior high, and there was some kid who was like, everyone loved the way he drew Ninja Turtles, and he was like so cool because he could draw Ninja Turtles. And I said, wait a minute, I could draw a Ninja Turtle. And then it all shifted over to me. Now I'm the cool guy who could draw Ninja Turtles.
He sidetracked the artist in the
yeah. So like from then on, I kind of pursued. Since then, I got hooked into comics, and then that was it. So right after school, I went to art school in New York. Right after art school, I worked directly with Todd McFarlane at McFarlane Toys. So it was right there. And then I just loved it, and then started doing my own comics, right after that, after I left McFarlane, so I'd been doing a lot of cover work, and it's just been great.
Yeah.
Conventions really are where I found my footing. That's kind of the proving ground. If nobody knows who you are, if you don't put yourself out there, it's not going to happen. But the comic convention community really kind of opened their arms to me, and it was it was great.
Yeah. So I mean, I know the the comic book world is weird, right? So like it's kind of like either you make it or break it in some cases. Sometimes you can kind of float in the middle. What was the first defining moment for both of you as to like, okay, now that I want to do comics, right? Where do I stand, right? So like it kind of like you pushed it out there, and then like when was the first moment that you were like, all right, I made a sale, or all right, here we go, we're making some traction. Like what brought you to that realm that was now I'm doing this?
For me, like when I was doing conventions, I was doing my work, trying to break in even the littlest bit, and then all of a sudden I start talking to some of these guys at the show. I don't know who they are. We're just talking or whatever. And then, oh, this guy's a famous artist. This guy's a famous artist. They love your work. They like your work, So it was like that invisible wall was kind of broken down at the show. Like it's now it's not impossible to do comics. Like it was almost like an unattainable goal. It just easily broke that down just by going to conventions and meeting these people and kind of talking to them about comics and work and art and stuff. It was a great thing,
And for Steven, for you, so like I know that this is like your first comic book, right? But you've written other things. So what broke you into the writing piece? Like what brought you in, like, and you finally said, you know what, I'm a writer, and then you kind of went through the flow.
I mean, just being a writer, I wrote a book called The Treelanders Journey to the Giants, and it was a story I kind of wrote for my kids and self-published it. And, it did pretty good for a little bit. And I had some local success and some, I had a lot of book signings, and I did some touring around New England with the book at some schools and stuff. And, that was like, yeah, man, I just love doing this. And then I got a job. I was working at Bose, and I got a job as a technical writer there. So I wrote at Bose for 16 years and published a lot of content. But for me, if I really want to say what was it that really like, yeah, man, I'm doing this is I met Ryan. Ryan loved the story.
Okay.
And for me, that was like a lot, because as a writer, if somebody else is liking your work and wants to work with you, that's a lot. I mean, that says a lot. And then we were just off and running. And, I think meeting, with Fugitive Poems and them wanting to work with us as well, and them being excited about working with us, and they love the story. And, as a writer, that's, I mean, money's great, but just that acceptance alone it just makes me say, yeah, man, I'm going somewhere,
Yeah, no, I mean, I've read comic books, but delving into the comic book world and going to cons and stuff like that, in that sense, I've learned a lot more, especially doing this podcast, to kind of like learn more about people's backgrounds, styles, what brought them in and stuff like that. It's so interesting to see how like everybody kind of brings their own flavor to the game, and it's not one size fits all for everybody, right? So like some people might like your comic book, some people might not like it. But ultimately there's a mix, right? So it's not like it's always everybody's cup of tea, but then you have a whole group of people that it's their cup of tea, and you're like, you get excited about it. And It's the same thing about my Comic-Con, like, Icon and Ryan's could attest, he's been at one of them. It's not necessarily everybody's flavor, but the people that come, they enjoy it, they have a lot of fun, and they have a good time. So, it's great to see the acceptance. It's great to see that you guys are moving forward with your book and kind of your dream, really to be able to put things to paper, whether that be ink or print, like in the sense of type. It definitely helps to kind of increase that awareness that it's not just Marvel, it's not just DC, it's not just IDW, it's not just Image. There's other comic books out there and other publishers and other stories that you never know. You could always get a book signing in the sense of this book, and then you could also make it into a movie at some point.
Right.
But let's talk about that. So what do you want the future of this book to be? Are you going to be delving into the other characters as you continue the arc? Are you going to be continuing the same character and kind of going forward? Or is this something that you're going to be splintering into like a different type of series, a prequel, a postquel? I think that's how you say it, right? Postquel, requel? I don't know. But are you going to be splitting into other things?
I definitely feel there's so much more of the story. Mm-hmm. And we have some side characters, some spin-offs that are, especially Agnes Whitmore, the granny with the tennis racket. That's okay. That's already a story that I want to get that into the hands of like Cartoon Network because it's a great, funny story. And I can't wait for Ryan to draw it. He's already done a little snippet. I feel that this story is so good it should be a Netflix series. It's I mean, for $2.99 you can't go wrong. Download the first 3 issues and have a read and have a look at the amazing artwork, and I think you'd be hooked. If it's not your thing, that's cool. You can cancel your subscription, but for $2.99, it's definitely worth the money. Just for the work that we put into it so far, and I'm excited about the story. I'm even more excited as I'm into script 6 right now, just even though I had the vision and some of it written, there's more and more stuff, and all of a sudden just things just keep popping. I'm like, well, we got to go there. We got to expand, but not right now.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm sure that you have like a storyboard on the side, and you're just like, all right, we're going to keep this for next time. We're going to put this for next time. That type of stuff. Now, Ryan, when it came to the art piece, right? I know that you have different delves of career aspirations that you've done, different works, right? What brought you to this style that you wanted to do for this particular book? I know the way I described it, is it kind of correct on point, or is there other feels that I'm missing?
Overall, the book has a lot of, again, that comic-y classic comic look. Like it's not super realistic, mm-hmm. which is a lot of fun for me. It gets the characters to have a little bit more animation and kind of life to them. They're not stiff or strictly noir, but it is noir adjacent.
Okay.
So there's panels where there's the dark shadows, there's the dark feel, of like a Frank Miller or whatever, but it can swing back and forth depending on the story, what's mm-hmm. going on, with fantastical stuff like hallucinations and drug-induced visions and all these kind of things. There's like so many places that the imagination wants to wander to, that hard, realistic style wouldn't really kind of lend itself to that. The balance that I've struck has kind of made it a lot more fun and like palatable.
And now, how did it feel doing the interior? And you did the covers as well, I'm assuming, right?
Yes. So I have plenty of experience doing covers. That's kind of where I kind of thrive. Really, is like mm-hmm. The covers are really kind of one of my favorite things to do. So I couldn't hand that off to someone else. But the covers are all really colorful and kind of fun. And the covers do have a little bit more of a sense of realism than the interiors a little bit. But the covers are always kind of a quick snapshot of the interiors, and that's kind of what I try to capture with each one. I went to school for illustration first. Like I didn't do comics per se, so my background is more kind of fine arts and painting and all that kind of stuff. So I think the cover really something I can like really sink my teeth into.
Bring it one more time. You broke up a little bit. You said you wanted to sink your teeth into the.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Well, no, the covers are the covers are the things that I really like to do. You know, I really get a good sense of the book and the fun that goes along with it. You know, and I try to make it interesting for the viewer. So the same thing with my interiors is that there's a lot of stuff in there that I fill up the page with a lot of little knickknacks and hidden things to find. So that's where a lot of the kind of the inspiration comes for side stories or the just the feel of the universe that this all takes place in. You know, it's populated with a bunch of characters and a bunch of memorable faces and all that kind of stuff, so that the world feels lived in and it feels like a whole place, like some place you'd want to visit. You know?
Yeah, and that's kind of like where I was going. Like, you know, you can do the branching off now. Now, here's the thing I want to know is like when Stephen, when you write the story, are these side characters in there, or Ryan, are you doing your elements of just adding these random people in there, and then all of a sudden Stephen's like, yo, that's a really good character to write about. I got to write this down. So how does that dynamic work?
Yeah, so there's a combination that happens, you know. So Stephen writes characters. He doesn't give too much of a description of what they look like a lot of the time. So he gives like the freedom for me a little bit. So there's a lot of suggestions as to what the characters are. Like one panel was, you know, old lady looks on from down the street or whatever. So I just drew this one panel with this old lady, and then everyone that sees that panel is like, this is my favorite panel in the whole book. So that
Okay.
character has now become like very important to the whole story.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when I'm writing, like, if I'm writing a book, I mean, you'll give a kind of more of a description of the character,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the looks, the mannerisms, and all that stuff, right? And then early on in the writing for this, you know, there was Ryan was like, just, you know, just let things breathe, and you know, I don't have to put too much. But I was writing a lot, like I was writing a lot of description. And I realized that I don't really need to do too much description. You know, middle-aged woman, black hair, blue eyes, wearing a nurse's outfit. You know, leave it at that. Ryan's going to pick up on it. He's going to know what to do, and he's going to just use his imagination. Go, you know, that's enough, right? That's enough description for you to go crazy. And I might have said old lady smoking a cigarette, curlers in her hair, or something. I forget what
yeah, something like that. Walking her dog.
Walking the dog. Dog's pissing on the mailbox.
No, that's awesome. But now with him bringing these things to life, is it getting your writer's engine going where now you're like, those characters that he drew, the way he drew them, now I want to really focus more on them in some cases, that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Ryan showed the cover to 4,
Mm-hmm.
issue 4, and I saw it. The minute I saw it, I'm like, oh, I know what to do with this character. So there's a character, and she had a very minor part, something to do with the drugs, and I saw that and it really sent my mind going. It set my mind reeling, and so the end of issue 5 it's a cliffhanger, of course, and that's all I'm going to tell you. But it's this brand new character spawned out of that cover. He got my creative mind going, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. Kind of how you guys can play off of each other in some cases. You know, you give him creative freedom, you take on the lot of the writing, and then you know you get inspired, right? So it kind of ruins the writer's block, if you will. But do you guys ever see, like, whether it be drawing block or writer's block during this making of this comic, or like outside of the comic? Have you ever run into that, and kind of like what have you done to combat it?
I can really talk firsthand about that. So from April till beginning of July, middle of July, let's put it that way. I had like a brain fog going on or something. and I couldn't do anything. You know, like I want to paint. I want to, you know, play music. I want to write. I got to write. I got to get this. Couldn't do anything. So instead I sit down and watch some TV, you know, and I don't want to say I was in a funk, but I was in something was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I just let it just kind of go through its course. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to chip away at this slowly. And that's all I did, is I just a little bit every day, couple panels. And you know, it took off from there. So.
And what about you, Ryan? Any type of art block, or you were just kind of flowing with the ink there?
It's like a mandatory flow with the ink. So like, yeah, so the schedule is really tight for like to pull off a book like this in 3 months, pretty much. So it's go, you know, just my schedule in general with other cover work, you know, conventions and like the kids and just life. I have very little time. So whenever I can find the time, I'm working on the book, you know. So even like the amount of stuff I have to shove into these panels, you know, it's a lot. So it makes it exciting, you know, to be, you know, on the, you know, onto the gun like that. And it kind of makes it kind of stressful, but it just keeps flowing right out of me. You know, I can't, you know, I don't have the luxury of, you know, taking a break.
I hear you.
But that's a good problem to have, you know, and I just can't wait for people to look through the book, you know, get it online or whatever, order it later on, probably about a year. Hopefully in about a year, we'll be able to get physical copies. So it's really, it really makes me feel good when people see the work and say they enjoy it. You know, it's all for the people.
So speaking of seeing, when are we going to see you guys next? What's the next con? What's the next convention? Like, what do we have going on for you guys schedule wise?
I have a show this weekend. It's just a Saturday show in Leominster, Massachusetts. It's the Plastic City Comic-Con.
Okay, so this is in August. Now we're talking about September.
That's right. I was just thinking that. In the past, I went to Leominster. In September, I have, I think it's on the 19th. There's a show, Granite State Comic-Con. Yeah, that's in New Hampshire.
Okay.
That's on the 19th. It's a 3-day show, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday is just in the room where I am in the Armory. It's like a preview night, so if you can get there that night, it's great. So it's usually a great show, fun show, easy to get around. It's usually a good show for collectors. There's a lot of great artists up there. That's where I'll be next.
All right. What about you, Stephen? Are you going to be tagging along, or are you going to different ones?
Well, you know, once I tag along on the good ones, not that they're not all good, but yeah, like the last one we did was good because we had Fugitive Poems. It was right in the next booth over, and so it was good to do some networking, and that's really, you know, without a physical copy, you know, it's kind of hard for me as a writer to be sitting there with not much in front of me, but I did some networking, which is good, you know.
I mean, QR codes, right? You guys got the QR code so people can scan to purchase?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Got to go with technology, baby. That's it.
Yeah.
No, sure. I mean, you know, it's really good to kind of see you guys out and about and stuff like that. And Ryan, you're always welcome to stop by the Comic-Con. You know, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
You know, that being said, you know, I want to be able to leave people with kind of like inspiration, right? You guys are both doing something that you love and you kind of inspired to come to fruition. So if you could, you know, give a little bit of how would you tell the next person the person who's younger, who's like, hey, I want to get in the game, or even somebody around our age that just wants to get into the game, and like what would inspire them to eventually do these things that you guys have done amazingly at, which is create a comic book out of nothing, right? So you not only brought the word, Stephen, but then Ryan brought it onto paper and gave it character in the sense of visualization. So like, what would you, I'll start with Stephen first and then we'll go to Ryan, but what would you say to the next person? This is what you should do. This is kind of how to save yourself the grief, the writer's block or whatever. What would you tell them to inspire them?
Finish what you're doing and just keep at it. Just, like finish your story, and just get out there, make your connections the best you can, and just stay positive about it. You can make anything happen, and it's possible. It doesn't matter what level you're at. It doesn't matter if you're working for DC or if you're at the level I'm at, but you're still going to get somewhere if you're pushing, hustle, and just don't lose faith in what you're doing, and just stick to your guns and just be positive. And that's all we did. We went to, we met with some people at the New York Comic-Con, and it's only a matter of time before someone's going to go, yeah, this is a good story. This is amazing artwork, and if you believe in it, it will happen, and that's the thing. I believe in it. So that's my advice to somebody. If you believe in something you're doing, finish it. Don't just have half of something. Because anytime I've had people come to me, hey, I'm writing a book. Okay. Any advice? Yeah. Finish the story, right?
Finish it.
Finish it.
He's taking words out of Mortal Kombat. Just finish it.
Exactly. But like sometimes people just like, they're like, yeah, I don't know. Like I wrote a couple pages and okay, well finish it and be proud of just that. Like I've finished just a manuscript before and like celebrated with a glass of whiskey or wine or whatever it is, just like, yeah, I did it. I'm happy it's done. Doesn't mean it's going to go anywhere, but at least I have this. I accomplished that, and now I can move it forward to the next step.
Yeah, definitely. And now you, Ryan.
Yeah, I always get artists that come by the table and ask, what do I do? Where do I go? Who do I talk to, or whatever? The best advice I always have is like, just keep making work. Work begets work. So always practice, always try to get better, and just like keep on pushing forward. And finish stuff. If you have a story, finish it. Drawing is a skill that you have to kind of work that muscle a lot. So don't ever give up. Don't ever stop. I've drawn for years and years, and like only when I started putting it out there and letting people see, it gave me the confidence, to actually put it out there and go up to other people and say, this is my work. What do you think? I talk to like other famous artists. I talk to writers and comic book companies. There's a lot of rejection or whatever, but eventually it'll happen. It's just a matter of time, and you just want your skills to keep growing and getting better and better. Because once you get to a certain point, the work will come to you. So it's like a lifelong learning experience that you take advantage of your time. It's really a great thing to follow your dream. So
yeah,
it'll happen.
Somebody's Picasso is not somebody's Van Gogh. You know what I'm saying? So like they have different flavors, different love. Yeah,
right.
No, that's awesome, guys. I mean, I really appreciate having you guys on the podcast. Thank you very much. I want one more plug of the book and kind of like how to work with you guys, how to contact you guys, and how to support you guys. So, whoever wants to go, throw that stuff out there so the internet can accept it.
So go to fugitivepoems.com, and you can subscribe there for 3 issues right now. We got a new issue coming out in another month or so. And information on me, you can just Google my name, Stephen Beccia, and you can find anything about me as far as art, music, my writing and stuff on. And
all right, cool. You too, Ryan.
Yeah. So once again, the book is called Dirty Living. So look it up. You can find it on Fugitive Poems, like Steven said. You can find me at the Art of Ryan Santos. I'm on Facebook. Instagram's a great one. Check out what I do. You can see I have a lot of the commissions I've done, a list of my shows coming up. You can kind of follow along with me. I'd love to hear from you. Love to see your work. And what else? That's about it.
No other Kickstarters, no other works going out there? Either one? No?
No,
I just want to make sure we're all covered right now. All right.
Yeah, we're good.
So again, guys, thank you very much. This is the Behind the Comic Book podcast. I'm Ramon Pinheiro. If you guys don't know, Icon Comiccon is coming up November the 1st, 2025. That's the year that we're in right now. It's going to be at the Fishkill Rec Center, 793 Route 52, Fishkill, New York. It's about an hour and a half north of the city. So if you're in the Hudson Valley, it's in Fishkill, right off of 84, right off of 52, right there. It's right next to the Fishkill Police Department, the town of Fishkill Police. So you can't really miss it. And you have that security. You know it's going to be nice, safe, and fun. Parking is available. Tickets right now online at iconcomiccon.com is only $5 for anyone 12 and up. And on top of that, you're going to get a free comic book. You're going to get a poster with all the artists that are going to be at Comic-Con. So that way they can actually like sign it while you're there. We have a whole bunch of fun giveaways to give away. I actually have a low-key TVA probe stick that they can that they take you out in the Marvel universe type of thing, and they put you in that weird zone. I have one of those to raffle off. So I'm also working on some other raffle stuff. I'm not going to say it out loud right now because I don't have it in my hands, but once I do, I may be giving a gaming station away, but we'll see. It depends on the energy that you guys bring me. But that being said, everybody, this is Mr. 845. This is the Behind the Comic Book podcast. Yet again, stay tuned every Monday, 12 afternoon. We're just going to be dropping episodes for season 2. All right, let's go. Stay positive, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
No problem.
All right, thank you.